Lakeland, Florida. Yes. Looks like it's going to be time for the Super Bowl, does it not, ladies and gentlemen? Seattle Seahawks versus whomever. Isn't that what we're doing here? I think it's fascinating to see the back and forth between the Seattle Seahawks and the Patriots. Seattle Seahawks up 6-0 right now, 75% chance the Seattle Seahawks win against the Patriots. Bad Bunny coming up at the halftime show, and of course, Green Day concert censored "Fuck America" lyrics. $180 hamburgers at the Super Bowl, and the Patriots players turned their back, or some of them, on the national anthem and fresh anti-American outrage at the same time after the Epstein files. What's up, America? How's everybody doing? After the Epstein files, a lot of people have turned their backs. Yeah, that satanic Olympics was insane. So people are starting to actually finally crash out over the Epstein files. A lot of people are saying, how can we even function, fathom, and feed this system after stuff like that's been done? I agree, of course, but let's continue with the news, and we'll get to the fresh revelations of the Epstein files coming up. What's up, America? Including, as you know, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Donald Trump, etc., etc. So, obviously, the big story today is Seattle Seahawks versus the New England Patriots. Seattle Seahawks 6, New England Patriots 0. Gavin Newsom honors Bad Bunny as the game, which airs on NBC, streamed on Peacock, began at 6:30 p.m. And the Seahawks are ahead 6-0. Bad Bunny obviously will be there, including performances from Green Day, which he's already said, "Fuck America," Charlie Puth, Brandy Charlie, and Coco Jones. What's up, America? How you doing, Haley? And that's what we're doing with this. Kickoff has already began, and like I said, the Seahawks are up. Approximately $180 million bet on this game right now. And, of course, as you know, the Super Bowl is for entertainment purposes only, as they say. So, oh my God, that's strong. Oh, I'm sorry, to concentrate for the win. Oh my God. So in the first quarter, 1.5 quarters of play, Seattle's defenses have surrendered a mere 37 yards in 18 plays. New England has just 3 first downs. Sunbee's the throat goat. Oh, that's great. Bitcoin is continuing to drop, and in other news, a police officer is caught kicking a puppy. What's up, America? Hell yeah, Tracy. Police officer or U.S. Marshal is caught kicking a puppy, breaking the puppy's legs. Or ribs, I'm sorry. Some people are defending. What's up, Virginia? Some people are defending the ICE officer kicking the puppy, saying that the puppy was going after a dog. Whatever. What's up, America? So let's get through the news real quick, and we'll go back to the Super Bowl and the Epstein files. We'll get a quick run of the news going on. Wanted to become when you were in school. Anthropologist, well, an archaeologist. Didn't seem to work out. That's why I like my archaeology page on TikTok more than the news. Anyway, North American news, the Super Bowl, Super Bowl 60. I'm not watching either because I'm still trying to understand what the rich have been doing. Isn't that fucked up? Exactly. Super Bowl 60 matchup between the Seattle Seahawks and New England Patriots is dominating the headlines with pregame coverage, highlighting the team's histories and quarterback matchup. President Donald Trump issued a message wishing both teams luck emphasizing American spirit. And, of course, Donald Trump. Hell yeah, thank you, Amanda. Of course, Donald Trump did not attend the Super Bowl because they feared he would be booed by the crowd. Severe weather alerts in place across the Northeast, with wind chills dropping to minus 30 in New York City and Boston facing heavy snow. Coldest season in 20 years. By the way, the temperature in New York City will be plunging to lower than Antarctica is currently. So, looks like we're in the wrong fucking hemisphere. Politically, Congress faces a deadline to fund the Department of Homeland Security amid a standoff over ICE reforms. With Democrats demanding limits on immigration enforcement, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent predicted a blockbuster 2026 economy as the Dow has hit a historic milestone of 50,000, though the average person in America can barely afford rent. With some 55% of Americans saying they cannot afford their bills, and some 70% of Americans saying that they're struggling to even make basic ends meet, like buying food. At the 2026 Winter Olympics in Milan, U.S. athletes like Breezy Johnson won gold in skiing, but Lindsey Vonn underwent surgery after a crash, and protests against ICE. What's up, America? How you doing, Slav King? Protests against ICE in Milan are occurring, which is weird as shit. The search continues for abducted Nancy Guthrie, with her family appealing for the release. And in California, 4 deaths were linked to mushroom poisoning, prompting foraging warnings. What's up, Ohio? I'm in Indiana. Donald Trump news. President Trump faces bipartisan backlash for sharing a racist video depicting Obamas as apes on social media, refusing to apologize. Donald Trump has criticized U.S. Olympic skier Hunter Hess as a loser for expressing mixed emotions about representing America amid domestic issues. Trump is pushing for nationalized elections. I support that, drawing concerns from Democrats like Senator Adam Schiff, who accused him of intending to subvert the 2026 midterms. I highly doubt that. He will meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, gee, what a surprise, February 11th to discuss Iran amid U.S.-Iran talks. So that means the next day we'll probably going to be destroyed. Yeah, I'm on TikTok on 2 pages, but I don't do live streaming over there. TikTok is full of too many psychos. So this is a normal place. TikTok is just too fucked up. What's up, Ziggy? And frankly speaking, a lot of people are leaving TikTok for YouTube anyway over the new shit that's going on. Trump congratulated Japanese Prime Minister Sanes Takashi on her election, went and held a very good talk with Iran while maintaining a military threat. I really wish we could blow up Iran's government. Yeah, I'm not a psycho. Your mom was over here sucking this dick, though, so I hope that's okay. His administration moderated deportation tones, ramped up election interference claims. Vice President J.D. Vance faced boos at the Olympics. And Trump plans a Board of Peace meeting in Washington to discuss the Gaza reconstruction, headed by him, Vladimir Putin, Benjamin Netanyahu, and noted child fucker Tony Blair. Noted child fucker Tony Blair. As said in the Epstein files, they all fucked kids. So, yeah. Job openings. Last month, we had 118,000 job layoffs with only 20,000 jobs produced, 23,000 jobs produced. Patriot, sounds about right. And it looks like the United States economy is in the shitter as our investments go all in for the AI bubble. And if that bursts, meaning we don't have any gains with AI, it looks like that we will be in the toilet, economically speaking. European news, Portuguese socialist candidate Antonio José Seguaro won the presidential runoff in a landslide over far-right populist Andre Ventura, despite storms disrupting voting. Storm Martia caused havoc in Spain and Portugal, damaging agriculture and infrastructure. By the way, we have another socialist mayor running in Los Angeles coming up. So she will win also. And the mayors are becoming socialist throughout the United States. Karen Bass will be losing to her, and then she will be winning in the next mayoral election of Los Angeles. So remember that coming up. The 2026 Winter Olympics in Milan, the Satanic opening, featured an opening ceremony with Mariah Carey, but faced protests and venue challenges. Also, protests over saying that the imagery of the Winter Olympics starting ceremony was satanic, which I showed that video yesterday. Ukraine related, President Zelensky revealed a U.S. proposed June deadline for peace with Russia, with talks possibly in Miami next week. Not sure if that will happen. And Russia claimed advances in Kharkiv and Sumy, while Ukraine reported defending against over 400 drone and 40 missiles targeting energy infrastructure, to which the city of Kiev is getting approximately 4 to 6 hours of power per day. So they have been fucked totally infrastructure-wise. Now, African news. South Africa announced its withdrawal from U.S. peacekeeping missions in Congo to be completed by year's end, citing resource realignment. Somalia and Saudi Arabia are set to sign a new defense agreement in Riyadh. Ethiopia accuses Eritrea of aggression and supporting armed groups, issuing a final warning against Eritrea, which I think Eritrea should not exist anyway. I think Ethiopia should take that back and have access to the sea once again. My opinion. To which I would have absolutely no problem with Ethiopia taking out Eritrea. Egypt's President al-Sisi reaffirmed support for Somalia's unity, warning against threats to Horn of Africa stability. The Super Bowl? No, fuck the Super Bowl. And in Afghanistan, noted in regional updates, UN reports documented killings and detentions of former security forces under Taliban rule, and hundreds killed in western and northwestern Nigeria as ISIS-backed groups kill a bunch of innocent people. Japan's prime minister, ruling coalition, secured a landslide victory in snap elections, gaining a supermajority and boosting markets with stimulus pledges. The yen continues to slide further. In Thailand, Prime Minister Antuin, name I can't pronounce, won decisively in snap elections, shifting the country in a rightward sense, with an estimated 194 seats, and Asian stocks jumped with Nikkei gains post-election. Bangladesh's election follows Sheikh Hassan ousting amid rising Chinese influence. Yeah, I'll tell you what, Bangladesh has nowhere to go but fucking up. That country's a shithole. In Ukrainian war news, the United States has set a June deadline for a peace deal, with Zelensky confirming participation in Miami talks, warned of risks of bilateral U.S.-Russia agreement excluding the Ukraine. Russia launched 400 drones and 40 missiles at the power system. Ukraine's foreign minister urged accelerating talks, saying only Trump can broker a deal. Russia claims to have captured more land as part of a, quote, buffer zone. Ukraine plans drone production in Germany by mid-February and 10 weapons export centers in Europe by 2026. And British Gravelhawk missiles, Gravehawk missiles, downed Russian drones yesterday. Iran news. Iran holds indirect talks with the United States and Oman, expressing a readiness for nuclear-focused deal, allowing peaceful enrichment, but rejecting limits to missiles. I recall we've already done this. Destroy Iran's government. Free the people. Fuck that shit. Dirk Diggler, what's up, America? Is he here?
I don't think so.
Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi warned of strikes on U.S. bases if attacked. Fuck the Iranian government. It's time to blow up the Iranian government. Fuck those pieces of shit. Trump and Netanyahu discuss Iran on the 11th amid U.S. strikes on military buildup concerns. Iranian forces seized weapons and arrested Kurdish militants in the northwest. And lawmakers claim Donald Trump sought strikes on 2 Iranian strikes met with warnings of heavy U.S. casualties. I highly doubt that. What's up, America? Judiciary chief excluded protest detainees from annual pardons and Nobel laureate individual sentence extended by 7 years. So Iran apparently extends your sentences if you're in jail. Now, the new Epstein files. The U.S. Justice Department has released 3 million files. Now they're saying Epstein revealing Silicon Valley ties to Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Sergey Brin, and others. No wrongdoing is applied. Oh, come on. Really? The FBI concluded Epstein was running a trial. So listen to this. The FBI, after all we've seen, the FBI concluded Epstein was not running a child sex trafficking ring for powerful men after reviewing bank records, emails, and interviews. Files show Epstein lawyers discussed cooperation with prosecutors before his death. Revelations have been toppling European figures like Prince Andrew and politicians in the U.S. government, with muted U.S. fallout and new charges unlikely against any of the child molesters who have been named. Documents including victims' networks and timelines and redactions. The release stems from bipartisan pressure. What's up, Nana? Showing that the latest news says a muddled or non-existent move from the United States Department of Justice to prosecute anybody involved with the Epstein files, particularly Donald Trump looking the other way as if any of that never happened. So, I want to know what everybody thinks about that. Obviously, I don't agree with the FBI and Department of Justice. Oh, you're fine, Nana. What's up, America? I do not agree with the Department of Justice on that, nor do I agree with any prosecutorial claims that Jeffrey Epstein didn't do anything wrong, seeing that there's plenty of videos and situations. In Europe, they're actually doing something. In the United States, we are letting child molesters run our country. In the meantime, the Dow Jones Industrial reached 50,000, and I'll get into some more of the Epstein files, including the emails that said that they were eating newborns. So that's fun. 9 in 10 Americans believe the United States is in a full-blown cost of living crisis. Rent is due. Electric bill sits on the counter. Grocery receipts from last week still sting. For half of Americans, keeping up with basic monthly bills is now impossible. A nationwide survey of 5,000 Americans from Talker Research reports 52% of Americans are struggling to pay bills like rent on time each month, while an equal number are struggling to afford necessities like groceries. 9 in 10 people believe the United States is in a full-blown cost of living crisis, and nearly 8 out of 10 say, and everything's become more expensive. Everything. Yeah, I bet they are for you. What, fucking raping everybody financially. Here you go. The question isn't whether Americans are struggling, it's what they're doing about it. What used to be considered bonus money, a tax refund for vacations, has become different and now considered a necessity for survival. Half of respondents say they expect a tax refund this year, and 73% admitted that their tax refund will be used for bills. 6 out of 10 said they need their refunds earlier than usual just to stay afloat. The desperation shows up most clearly among young Americans, where 74% of Gen Z expecting a refund says that all of their money will be going to bills, whereas 34% of baby boomers say that they're waiting on their refund for any type of bill payment. The Gap tells a story about which generation still has a financial cushion left and which does not exist. Where the money goes tells a similar story. Nearly 3 out of 10 people are going to use their tax refund on groceries and gas. Another quarter will put their tax refund on paying past due debts, with only 14% of people saying that they'll use their refund money for anything described as fun or personal gain. Exactly, Dana. These people are fucking retards. Oh, yeah, I can say that here. Tax refund are often the biggest check Americans receive each year, and they need them now more than ever. They're a critical source of liquidity that people are not only counting on, but are in need of earlier than ever, says Aaron Brule, VP of Communications at Current.com, which comprised the study. They've become lifelines to pay down past debt and avoid missed payments and late fees. The cost of living is not only with rent and groceries, but homes have become unaffordable. The cost crisis isn't just making people broke, it's making them homeless, forcing them to abandon places they used to feel like were theirs. More than 1/3 of people have moved because where they were living became too expensive. About a third, what did you say? About a third of those relocated to a different city, while another third left their state entirely, searching for an affordable house. Half of Gen Z moved out due to costs, with only 19% of baby boomers. Hate people who have money. I don't hate people who have money. I hate people that gouge other people needlessly for your own profit, knowing that 200% profit was okay, but let's fuck people for 500%. That's why. Now, if it's property taxes, that's a different story. But my notion is I believe that property taxes should be illegal. So if you had no property taxes to pay, you wouldn't be charging $2,500 a month for a fucking Cracker Jack box. And I just lived in one of those shitholes. Why couldn't I buy a house? Because I didn't have 40 grand laying around. Because I was too busy raising 2 children, even though me and my wife worked full-time jobs. Fascinating how that works. 12% on your money. Well, then it looks like you're in the wrong state, whatever that is. Or I would get into selling homes, not renting them. That's the thing. I once rented from a person whose house that they were renting was considered their wife's retirement house because they had 15 properties. So they gained about probably $70,000 to $80,000, and the guy was a slumlord piece of shit. Our house was falling down around our ears, and he told us to fuck ourselves. I've had slumlords. Now, if you're not a slumlord, that's a different story. If you are, fuck yourself. Because I don't have any respect for a slumlord. A landlord, one thing, but a slumlord, suck my dick. Anyway, what's worse is how many Americans have stopped dreaming. About half of all respondents believe that they'll never be able to afford a home in their life. 2/3 of Gen Z have abandoned the hope of ever affording a house. That's not about housing markets or inflation. It's about the entire generation learning to aim low because aiming higher is pointless. The geography of affordable matches the geography of affordability matches expectations. Coastal states and northern resort areas remain out of reach, with Hawaii and Alaska as the most out of reach, and Colorado at the bottom of those that can be made. California, New York, and Illinois are not far behind. Meanwhile, southern and midwestern states dominate affordability. Mississippi, Alabama, and Oklahoma is the cheapest state. But affordability is relative because people in Mississippi, Illinois, and Alabama make far less as far as wages. Even in these states, people rated as most affordable, only 6 in 10 can manage the cost of living. Meaning that even in the cheapest part of America, 40% of people cannot afford the country. So even in the cheapest part of America, which would be Oklahoma and Mississippi, is out of reach for American. Oh God, you own trailer parks. Jesus Christ. The number in this survey don't just describe a financial crisis, they described a physiological one, where half the country can't pay monthly bills when 9 out of 10 people agree that it's hard and people can't pay bills, where an entire generation has given up on living. And you see, that's the thing, is the older generation mocking the younger generation when nobody can afford it. And the older generation pretends that everything is still attainable. The younger generation is called lazy, but they already know that no matter how hard they work, they can't afford this. So that's what we're doing with this. So how do you reconcile this? Where you have an older generation that says, continue to pay more, and then you have a younger generation that says, given the timeline, we can predictively preempt what's happening here in the future. And overall, there's a 9 out of 10 chance that we're not going to be able to ever afford a home. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God. Anyway, consider what it means that tax refunds have transformed from windfalls into emergency funds, or that being able to spend 11% of a windfall on something fun is now considered a privilege, or that affordable states are now out of reach financially for 40% of people. These are not statistics about money. They're statistically about lack of hope. The survey was commissioned by Current and conducted by Talker Research between December 2025 and January 2026. It captured Americans at specific moments, but for many Americans, that's no longer feels like a temporary rough patch. This is where now American promise used to include the idea that hard work could get you somewhere. Now it just might keep you from falling further behind with no gain in the future, specifically the next 1 to 2 generations. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the realities of the situation. You can say to work harder, but most people cannot work harder than 100%. And so that's what it is. That's just the facts. If you don't like it, if you think it's just bullshit, if you think it's some kind of, socialist bullshit, it doesn't really matter to me. It's just the realities of the situation. The right to die is starting to make gains in the United States as euthanasia is starting to take hold. States that are home to a third of the population can now allow assisted dying. For her 70th birthday, and these are just allegories to get into the news, and these are all AI-driven bullcrap, I'm sure, but the news writes whatever. For her 70th birthday, Patricia Ann Courtney requested an unusual celebration. She didn't want to party. She wanted to buy an abandoned funeral home. Courtney planned to turn it into a domestic violence shelter. The family redecorated it with all kinds of paint. 6 years later, she died of amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, a motor neuron disease. Before her death, she lost her ability to walk, eat, and speak. I'm all too familiar with the pain of seeing someone you love suffer and feeling powerless to stop it. says the daughter and the governor of New York, Kathy Hochul. No shit. Hochul, however the fuck you pronounce her name. Neurological disease such as ALS are the second most common diagnosed for Americans who ask for doctors' help to die. Soon, New York is expected to join 12 other states, plus D.C., where assisted dying will now be legal. Miss Hochul, I never can say her name right, is expected to sign a bill in the next coming days. This is part of a wave. See chart 1 over here. Oh, there's a lot of states in 2025 of people or states legalizing assisted dying. In 2025, Delaware and Illinois approved assisted dying laws, but at the end of the year, more than 30% of Americans will live in states where a doctor prescribed death to terminally ill patients can now become a reality. What's up, Woodsman? We got trolls, I believe. Yeah, it's always the same old bullshit with the same old... It's the same old clock-sucking talking patterns with them. The trolls, I'm stupid, I don't know what I'm talking about. Trump's a pedo, blah, blah. And it's just like, oh my God, what's up, Woodsman? The trolls are so retarded, it gets old. And it's like, long time ago, it actually meant something. But now I could give a fuck less. It's like I'm literally reading. I don't even look at the chat at this point. They could say rubber baby buggy bumpers, and I would just be like, okay, whatever. It doesn't mean anything because they're retarded, and I already know it. Their opinion is the same as somebody screaming the same old bullshit over and over and over. If you weigh 300 pounds, you're not starving. Yes, of course. If you weigh 300 pounds, you're not starving. Lawmakers are catching up with public opinion. Slightly more than half of Americans believe that assisted dying is morally acceptable. This share grows to 2/3 if the patient is in severe pain or asking for help to die. Maine, Vermont, New Jersey, Delaware, D.C., Illinois, Montana, Colorado, New Mexico, Hawaii, California, Oregon, and Washington already allow assisted dying right now. On top of that, we have bills considered this year in New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New York, Pennsylvania, Virginia, North Carolina, Tennessee, which is surprising, Kentucky, Indiana, which is surprising, Missouri, Minnesota, and Arizona. The rest of the states say assisted dying is illegal. The safeguards in America tend to be stricter than others in Western countries. Canada and the Netherlands allow it in cases where patients are suffering or from incurable pain but not terminally ill, some offering for cases of poverty, as in Canada. The first was to legalize Oregon in 1994. They're the first to legalize weed too, by the way, so just throwing that out there. Opponents are generally religious in nature and morally wrong for assisted dying is at about 41%, where morally acceptable is about 54%. So it's starting to turn into favor of assisted dying. Let me know. I would say the Seahawks because I like Seattle. That's my answer to that. But we need the Patriots. YouTubers sneak on to Epstein Island and find mysterious people living there. And the U.S. debt is on track to be the worst it's been record ever, outpacing World War II's debt spike in 1946 to 1949 and 1950. And we have the Seahawks. Let me update this right now. Seahawks 9. Fucking Patriots 0. As it's looking so far that the Seahawks are beating the shit out of the Patriots. Surprise, surprise. Seahawks hold slim lead over the Patriots. Oh, this is new. And very nervous first half as Drake Meyer endures brutal start, and the world awaits for Bad Bunny to talk shit. So what's the score right now? That the halftime Seahawks were 9-0. And then a couple minutes, Turning Point USA's halftime show has a staggering 3 million people watching on YouTube. Bad Bunny is yet to undergo in Levi's Stadium. It'll be interesting to see if the Turning Point audience stays that high when he does. So, Turning Point USA on YouTube has a halftime show that has 3 million people watching it. Holy fucking shit, man. That is absolutely huge. Let's go check that out real quick. That would be the largest I've ever seen. That beats, TPUSA. By the way, Erica Kirk is still creepy. I don't care what anybody says. Turning Point USA, we now have, how many people do we have watching it? 3.8 million people watching Turning Point USA right now. I'm watching it as well in the background. 3.869 million people. That is the largest YouTube stream I have ever seen in my entire life. There has never been a live stream that big, ever. So, I'm still kind of perturbed by Turning Point USA. Looks like the comments are flowing in. We're heading almost to 4 million live stream views on Turning Point USA, which is absolutely psychotically large. Bad Bunny, of course, will be coming up. The Super Bowl will be considered divisive, and more than likely Bad Bunny will say a bunch of un-American retarded bullshit. But it's Bad Bunny's right to say if Bad Bunny wants to be labeled a moron. So that will be happening coming up here in the near future. Botted views. I could see that too. In other news, Wu Tai Nostalgia still needs some followers. In case you want to subscribe to Wu Tai Nostalgia, that's WUTAII1, Wu Tai 1 Nostalgia. That's my gaming channel. The only thing left after I got rid of my nostalgia videos, because YouTube changed their policies, is, of course, old-ass shit and Roblox videos from when I was playing with my kids on Roblox. So, that being the case, we're going to be doing gaming over at Wu Tai Nostalgia. Not everything has to be about news. I know I have been kind of derelict on it. The channel does have 63,682 followers. Losing followers because I haven't been making content on it, and I deleted 95%, or my wife helped me. Well, you did all of it, actually. Yeah. Deleted that much. And why? Because of the fact that it was mostly stolen content. To be fair, because I was putting up nostalgia stuff, like I was putting up commercials from the 80s and 90s, and it was never a monetized channel. So now I decided, well, the only way to ever do anything about it, I have a lot of followers, is to get rid of that shit, which it was kind of a bad thing because I lost 500 followers from it so far. But it was either destroy the nostalgia aspect of it and try something new, which I'm going to try nostalgia video games. Still trying to figure out if, like, what the deal is with the video game music on YouTube. Is that still a problem? What's up, London? Thank you, my friend. So I play World of Warships. I play Grand Theft Auto 5, obviously Minecraft. I could do archaeology live. Absolutely, that would be fantastic. I have a lot of fucking things to talk about that. But this one, I want to download the nostalgia videos. Is YouTube, like, really, how do I put this? Are they real dick about the video game music? You know what I'm saying? Like, if I go out there and play Mario and it's got the repeating music or whatever on it, are they going to come after it for copyright for every single thing? Because I really don't want to fuck with that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I have a lot of archaeology to talk about. Not Not that type. We're not going fist deep. Not like BlackRock with the financials. So I will say, before I get into the rest of the news, and I do want to talk about the Epstein files because that was basically the news of the world as we update you on the Super Bowl. I like The Legend of Zelda. My channel's name over there has Link as the character. I used to play it. They would always go after people for copyright. I know Nintendo sucks dick when it comes to doing shit on here. I don't know about Square Enix with Final Fantasy. Yeah, dude, yeah. Nintendo is a group of fuckbags. I don't understand what Nintendo's deal is. So I could go back and get emulations of GTA 3, which I liked back in the day. I'm not sure how good that would work, but it would be at least something, and it wouldn't be copywritten material. I also have other music over there and shit like that. None of it's political. Like I said, it was getting about 180,000 views a day. It's getting about 2,000 views a day. I don't even know if the channel could be recovered, but in order to match monetization guidelines, if I want to even apply, I had to do that. So we'll see what happens. I guess I'm allowed to apply once I get so many hours on here. Speaking of which, let me check that. And because like I said, I deleted all that. The new year had come, so I have a year to get so many hours on this channel. It says here 1,394, so it hasn't even updated it, has it?
It was 1,376 the other day or something.
Really? So that's how slow it's going? Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Okay, well, I have a lot of work to do with that. But obviously, I've been doing a lot of stuff on YouTube and TikToks, or on TikTok and here live. So I haven't really done that. So I need to start streaming those video games and get those hours in, right, honey? Mm-hmm. And so I'll probably take a day to do that. I am not. Is the halftime show on? Hold on. Let me go check that out right now on YouTube. I won't show it on here, obviously. Halftime show. I know there's a lot of people on here. Oh, there's Bad Bunny. Let's see what we got here with this fucking... So what is this? Is this... it's not on here yet. Right now we got a Seahawks. Is it 6-0 or is it 9-0? So we'll get on to Bad Bunny when it comes up, and we can listen to that type of performance. Bad Bunny right now, or at least his music artist, has 75,000 people watching for the halftime show. Turning Point USA has, you have Turning Point USA, which has now 4.3 million people watching. Then you have this one called Magino News that's clearly just stealing it with 190,000 watching.
So always more than the real Super Bowl show.
Yeah, the Super Bowl halftime show from the music artists themselves, we have 17,000 and another one with 74,000 watching. So nobody's watching that shit. Content limited due to copyright. They're coming out hard, obviously, against copyright on YouTube because the copyright Nazis are out like normal. So you'll have to check out the Bad Bunny experience on X, it's going to look like. So I could put it up there, but I already know YouTube will fuck it up because they're copyright whores, because advertisers are pieces of shit. I just want to know this question real quick. Can anybody tell me... Yeah, the Turning Point's putting out their own halftime show. So can anybody tell me why on TikTok I can play music on a live stream and why on YouTube I can't? If anybody can really tell me why that's a thing, I'm all fucking ears. Why TikTok is... They're just TikTok's I'm going to play a whole bunch of fucking shit on here and it's going to be copywritten and we don't even give a shit. And they're just oh, okay, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, you can do whatever. No matter what music you play. What's up, Dave? Then you can do whatever. But then YouTube, it's like, oh, 5 seconds of fucking music, you're sued. It's like, hold on a second. These assholes will let you play whatever you want on TikTok and no one gives a shit. But on a platform that's similar, an American platform that should be freer, by the way, we're not allowed to have that same type of personal copyright freedom, which seems very odd to me in a land that classifies themselves as the land of the free. But I digress. Yeah, or they're just yeah, exactly. It could be that too. So Bad Bunny's halftime show is still upcoming. In other news, the biblical fourth river leading to the Garden of Eden has been discovered in Saudi Arabia. A long-lost river of the Bible has been found using satellite images pointing to the Garden of Eden. For centuries, the Garden of Eden has been a symbol of paradise in the Bible, a lush, perfect world for Adam and Eve. Many have dismissed it as a myth, but now resurfaced satellite images have suggested that the story of the fourth river, or the third river, may have been geographically real. A series of orbital scans revealed an ancient, now dry riverbed in Saudi Arabia that some scholars align with the biblical description of Eden's main river known as the Pishon. Pishon, the Pishon, but it's Pishon. The book of Genesis Pishon. The book of Genesis describes Eden as a paradise watered by a single river that split into 4. So I was right, 4. The Pishon, the Gihon, the Tigris, and the Euphrates. While the Tigris and Euphrates are well known, the Pishon and Gihon have long been lost to history until today. The dry riverbed called the Wadi al-Batin stretches from western highlands of Hejaz near Medina, northeast to the northern Persian Gulf region of Kuwait. Its winding course corresponds closely with the biblical description of the river, which states it compasseth the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold, and the gold of the land is good. There is bedlam and onyx stone. Modern satellite images spotted Wadi al-Batin delta near the Gulf, with the dunes and depressions marking the river's former grandeur. Contemplating this, Iran's Quran River, a twisting waterway flowing through the Zagros Mountains, may comprise of the Gihon, the Hebrew word for the sabab, meaning circle or twist, aptly describing the Karun's River meandering. Excuse me. Historically, the river ran through the Kassiti territory, identified by some scholars as the land of Cush, mentioned in Genesis. The discovery of Wadi al-Batin as a potential Eden riverbed dates back to early 1990s when Boston University geologist Farouk El-Baz analyzed radar images from NASA's Space Shuttle Endeavour. However, the images were revisited on Pathos this month, reigniting attention to what had been lost for thousands of years. The data revealed a fossilized river up to 3 miles wide, active during a wetter Holocene era, before drying between 2,000 and 3,500 years ago due to classified as a climate shift. The satellite images give us a window into landscapes that have vanished over millennia, said Dr. El-Baz. We can now trace rivers that once shaped human settlements and perhaps even inspired ancient biblical narratives. The alignment of these rivers with biblical text is striking, as together with the Tigris and Euphrates, Wadi al-Batin and the Quran River would converge in the Persian Gulf, forming the fertile cradle of civilization. James A. Sauer, a biblical archaeologist who analyzed the satellite data, said that the dry riverbed features best match the biblical description of the Faison through the stops short of declaring it proof of Eden itself. I believe the remains of the Garden of Eden are underwater by about 2 miles, maybe even up to 5. However, according to archaeologist Juris Zahan, satellite images showing ancient riverbeds near the Persian Gulf comprised with the description from Genesis suggesting the Eden narrative may reflect real ancient geography, even if its spiritual elements remain imperative or interpretive. Environmental data has also supported the theory, showing Arabia's arid transformation after the last ice age and rising sea levels that may have submerged part of Eden's delta. Told you. Not all scholars agree, however. Some argue that the land of Cush may refer to regions in Africa connecting the Gilead to the Nile. I disagree. Others caution that biblical texts blend spiritual allegory with historical memory, making precise mapping speculative. However, the rising of sea levels, in my opinion, make it almost exactly clear what this is. Some people are just naysayers and contrarians, no matter what you say. Satellite maps of the Fertile Crescent, including the Wadi al-Batan path, reveal landscapes that once supported early human settlement that are now a desert. The ancient river's courses align with archaeological evidence of early farming communities and trade networks, providing a tantalizing glimpse into pre-flood world described in biblical texts. There have been many theories about where the Garden of Eden was located. Some suggest Africa, most suggest in the Persian Gulf region. Mahmoud Zawid, a chemical engineer based in Texas, argued Eden was actually in Bahir Dar, a fertile region of Ethiopia. I don't agree with that. Near the southern end of Lake Tana, where the Blue Nile begins. Jawad based his research after careful readings of the Bible and the Quran. That's why I don't believe it, because the Quran is fake. So that's totally dismissed, in my opinion. Early human evolution in 2025, which has not been peer-reviewed, noted the Blue Nile could be comprised of the biblical Gilon and Lake Tannan outflows. I don't believe that at all. Early human evolution also played a role in this theory, proposing that Adam may have evolved from Homo habilis, or late form of Australopithecus in East African Rift Valley or the Oduvial Gorge. No, that's just where people came from initially. People don't understand what migration and walking means, whatever it is. The Garden of Eden was a very large area, but I believe that God may have done things in different places. And, of course, the geography itself was completely different back then. So, nevertheless, this is because the region stays 6,000 feet above sea level. And this is also people that believe the Earth is 6,800 years old, which clearly, in my opinion, is not the case. I believe in an old Earth theory. It doesn't mean that a timeline of God doesn't exist. It just means that I think 6,800 years is bullshit. Oh, God. And then evidence in Nancy Guthrie's septic tank. Real reason cops searched a manhole. Nancy Guthrie, do you think the mom is dead? I think the mom is probably dead. Yeah. New York is officially colder than Antarctica. And classic American food places are ranked the worst food in America. Dead last is Jack in the Box, condemned for what reviewers described as a long litany of sins, including greasy patties, soggy buns, high prices, and overzealous hand with mayonnaise. Of 21 restaurants, Jack in the Box is described as the worst restaurant, fast food restaurant burger in America. So give me just a second because I want to do one thing here with this. I want to make this comprise a list. And so I can make a list on which I'm not very happy with AI not comprising lists properly, which most news stories now are just AI drivel being spouted at people. Sorry, don't know what to tell you. But nope, the overlords took. Yeah, I see it happens here every day too, Nana. Sorry, I just now read that. By the way, don't forget to thumbs up and or gift and Cash App if you got it. Smoke them if you got them, of course, as we always say here on the channel, and I'm making a list. What's your favorite burger? That's all I have to say. I had a chimichanga today. I've, believe it or not, never had a chimichanga today. I fucking love a chimichanga. That was fucking fantastic. That was amazing. I liked it. I would eat multiple of those, except that, I mean, damn. That's all I have to say is like, holy shit. I don't know if you've ever had a chimichanga. Yeah, but that was good shit. So, Super Bowl halftime show starting and not much news. It's Sunday, 8:36 p.m. on the East Coast, and it's supposed to get significantly warmer in the middle and east of the United States and colder, hopefully in some other parts out west. Hopefully wintertime is finally over. I highly doubt it, but I'm over this bullshit. I don't like the cold. Can't check it out. I'm sorry if you're commenting and YouTube's not showing it. I probably need to go on the browser and check it out because it has been broken on here for quite every now and again. It does that. So who do you guys think is going to win? Do you think it's going to be the Seahawks or do you think it's going to be, what the fuck? Or, hold on a second. It is frozen. Yeah, so my chat's frozen. Yeah, my chat's frozen. YouTube does this. This is the first time this has done this in a while, actually. But yeah, the chat will be frozen. So let me go on to my live stream here and just check it out so I can read what you guys are saying. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's frozen as fuck, isn't it? God damn. Yeah, so now I'm reading it. I have it up here so I can see what you guys are saying here. Yeah, oh yeah, I have to roll a joint. Sorry about that. My wife's like, you gotta roll that joint there, hot stuff. So I'm, okay, now I can see what it is. So what do you guys think about the Epstein files? I just want some allegory from you. I can see in the chat. Please read your DMs I sent you. Okay, I will. On TikTok? Oh yeah, you can't get DMs here, can you? On YouTube.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So I want to know what everybody thinks about, by the way, this is my ounce of weed, what everybody thinks about the Epstein files. I want to protest in a revolution. Everybody's just kind of looking. Yeah, nobody will do anything about it. The world is underreacting. I mean, there's actually documents saying that these global elite are eating children and eating the shit out of their intestines. We've read some of this. It's getting worse. There's evidence Michael Jackson helped kids from child molesters, and because of that, they came after him and lied about it. There's everything that you thought is correct, the adrenochrome situation, the cults involved. We got information now today that cults are involved. Involved with this, possibly trafficking children. We have some evidence that this may be continuing. The children are still being trafficked. Make sure you keep an eye on your kids. Keep your head on a swivel. I will say that as much as I can't stand the Iranian government, none of, like, Putin didn't molest kids. Ayatollah Khomeini didn't molest kids. They just murder kids, honey. And Kim Jong-un in North Korea also didn't buy children. However, Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg are both on a photograph meeting with Epstein. So Elon Musk kept saying on X, "Oh, we didn't do anything. I never visited." Blah blah blah. And then there's, "Hey, look at that photographic evidence. Isn't that fun?" And then also we have Peter Thiel, who's in charge of the surveillance state now here in the United States. Obviously, Donald Trump's been mentioned hundreds and hundreds of times. And Donald Trump keeps saying, "I was vindicated by the files." I haven't seen any vindication whatsoever from any of these people. All as I see is a constant degradation. There's no files indicating that any of these people are innocent whatsoever. That's another thing I want to say on here. There's a couple of things saying that Epstein didn't like Trump. But there is absolutely nothing vindicating any of these people that they are innocent in any way, shape, or form. As a matter of fact, quite the opposite, talking about young underage Brazilian girls, talking about girls being young and feisty, talking about 9-year-olds, with the names of those people redacted, talking about 11, 13 ages are being thrown around quite a bit. Talking about passing them around, buying them, Tony Blair naked in an orgy with them, several other people, Steve Bannon laundering. There's a great deal of stuff, and a lot of people they ignore it because they don't want to hear it. And when the news talks about it, the news talks about it in an advertiser-friendly way. So the news will sit there and say things like, "Oh, they were trafficking children," but they won't go into the fact that they were eating them. There's a bunch of missing children, but they won't say why or what, that they were pulling kids' faces off and wearing them. They won't talk about that because that shit is not advertiser friendly. So your ads will be pulled from these major people if you talk about children being killed, eaten, dismembered, murdered, blah, 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 because that's considered 18 plus. Those are tender subjects for our ads. And so people basically say, well, we better not talk about that instead of the truth because they don't want to lose advertising money. They don't want to lose the advertising money. Now, I've given Donald Trump quite the ball. I promoted him for 2 years on TikTok. Now, I know the global elites, and I know that they're sick fucks. They buy women. They use people like they're garbage, even though people do have souls. These people are absolute trash. However, you never thought it would go into cannibalism, giving your wife amoxicillin secretly because you got fucking an STD from a Russian underage hooker and your name is Bill Gates. And there's just so many things that go into this, and your natural reaction is, I want to save the children. Obviously, you know that the sex trafficking is probably still going on. More than likely, you're going to find ties in with cartels also, because they weren't just buying women from one location. They were buying them from all over the world. They were going to Africa. They were going to Asia. They were going to Central Asia, Eastern Europe, Western Europe, United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru, literally all those places, which is fucked up. When you say, well, how can this be real? So a good percentage of our population will just look the opposite direct. They'll look the opposite way. They don't want to see it. They don't want to hear it. It's too sickening. If you told them, hey, some of your celebrities and people that you like are eating children, and I mean newborns, you would say, no, you'd freak out. You wouldn't hear it. You don't believe it. You're making it up, blah, blah, blah. It's every other thing but the truth because people don't want to understand that they're living in a world like that. Like, you can't profess that kind of truth to somebody like my 96-year-old grandmother. So they know politicians are corrupt, but those are honorable men. That's why they're there. That's because that's the religious way of looking at it, is these people are in charge because they were placed there by God, and because that's what it says in the Bible in some instances. But they also leave out the fact that even though, like, Jesus talked about demons walking among the people and them existing, but these older generations, the greatest generation and the boomers dismiss demonic presence as if it's something that doesn't actually exist, that it's just something they wrote about and there's not really demons, they don't exist, they don't fuck with people, they're not here, it's just stories about bad people. And it's not, they're actually real. Demons actually exist. Big scary bullshits of smoke, fire, and putrid smell that are in principalities that'll run certain locations almost as if they're territorial, and they are very violent in some instances, that will try to kill and maim if they're allowed to, or just destroy people spiritually through one segment or another. This is part of that. That's why they were allowed to operate so long and not get arrested or killed or anything like that, because there were these evil forces that were spiritual black shadow forces that were protecting them, that are, in my opinion, worshipers of the cult of Saturn, which we've talked about the cult of Saturn, which is a real occultic worship. And then we're finding out that several hundred occultist groups were involved potentially with these trafficking. So that means like groups of Satanists, groups of real weird, like end time prophecy things, old Greek and Roman and Mayan worship cults that believe in human and child sacrifice in order to gain power, which of course is absolutely retarded, because you don't control Satan and demons. You don't have that power to give them. What the fuck is wrong with? It's just humans being stupid. And so they believe eating people or eating children or whatever will give them power. It's not the first time that's been seen in history. We've seen people a lot back in the day that used to eat the organs and flesh of their conquered victims in battle, because eating the dead would give you power in your next battle, and you would consume the flesh. This happened a lot with Aztec conflicts, and also Mayan and Toltec Olmec conflicts. Some evidence of Inca, but they were a little more, I'm not going to say civilized when it came to battle, but they reserved that type of shit for, it wasn't so frivolous, I guess you want to call that. So these ancient societies, especially if you believe it's like Moloch worship or Baal worship or any type of Canaanite god worship, dabbles into human sacrifice, child sacrifice, temple prostitutes and temple prostitution. And if you read the Bible, you can hear about this. If you look into historical context, you can see this with the Canaanite worship, voodoo, also Santeria, temple prostitutes, sexual acts for spiritual gain, where they would take children and they would take temple prostitutes, or some would even dabble into gay type of stuff in the churches and in the temples. And then some of this evidence that's coming out here now with the Epstein files are saying that these children were taken to churches and houses of worship for sexual favors. It would be like, it's kind of like a black mass, which is the opposite, where in Christianity you would have the little children come to Jesus for like worship and blessing. Here you would use these children, as then they did, for sacrifice or sexual favors, much like ancient Inca or Canaanite worship, where they would, because in Canaanite worship you straight up had temple prostitution. And you can see that in the Bible. It says temple prostitutes were killed and vindicated and blah, all this other horse shit when Canaanites were destroyed by the Israelites. So, and then of course the Canaanites stole the Ark of the Covenant, and then Baal fell before the Ark of the Covenant because Baal was a fake god, and it made everybody sick until they left. But that Canaanite religion continues with the global elite, and they worship Moloch and also the war god Yahweh, not the same God that you worship. That's Yahweh, which is the Israeli God, or the supreme God I am. but they worship the Canaanite war god deity with the same name. So that's the little church on the island. There you go. And so they do these things on purpose. It's like Satanists have what are called black masses. So they venerate Satan the same way that the Catholic Church venerates God during a mass. So if you've ever been to a Catholic mass, that way that which they do that, they just have what's called a black mass for Satan, and it's just the opposite of the norm or the reality. And so that's what they were doing with children. You can see that on some of the videos that we've seen on Epstein Island, specifically the girls dressed in Greek, the young girls that were dressed in Greek togas. Those are like Zeus worship and stuff like that. That goes to like oracle sacrifices of young virgins and the drugging of young virgins with the sulfur fumes from the volcanic ashes to get hallucinations. So that's what they were doing, a lot of that as well. And if you ever want to look into Greek oracle and cult worship, you'll see how that worked. And Epstein was involved in everything from Greek and Roman cult worship to bastardize Talmudic hatred, and then of course I would say Satanism, but it's not really Satanism. Well, the videos are out there. I don't want to show the videos here on YouTube. I don't know the legalities because these are young girls walking around in togas, and I don't want to show that shit. So go on X if you have it and look up like Epstein Greek or Epstein toga or something like that. And you'll see the young girls that are like the 6 and 8, 9-year-olds that they consider Vestal virgins. And they do that on purpose because they did certain rituals and then they would sacrifice them. And why would they do that? Well, it was just to venerate. It was just for...
Because they needed dinner.
Yeah, it was power. It was a Hannibal situation. I mean, it's several different reasons for it, and like the Talmudic shit is just because you're a goyim, so go fuck yourself. We can do whatever we want, and that's actually satanic. And then like it's a weird mix. Like Aleister Crowley is still kind of goes back to that type of bullshit he created, but not. It's like a proto version of that. There's several different weird mixes of that. And it's not like Masonic. So that's a different thing. This is not like Masonic shit. This is Talmudic. This is like it's okay to eat children. It's okay to do shit like that. That's evil. They normalize graping children. That's what they do. With the certain verses of the Talmud. And then you see this, and it's a mix of that with like other weird kind of cult-like mixes. And I don't know exactly why he did it. There was some kind of transition. No, it's never okay to do that. These people should be shot to death. I actually have 3 videos out now calling for executions, or at least rounding up of these people that are doing this. So I've been saying it for a while on X, or on TikTok. Also X, I've been putting the files out there. So it's a sick, sad world, man. And I'm telling you what, if these elite pedophiles don't end up in jail, then so now there's 10 hours ago images of Jeffrey Epstein's torture chamber was just released with torture devices, metal torture devices, and also a gong as you're torturing them. So that's fucking weird. Jesus Christ almighty. But it is funny. I'm seeing grown men more passionate about televised sports than about saving their nation from pedophiles. So I'm kind of sickened about that. CEO of Chipotle caught on audio saying that they're going to keep raising prices simply because they can. We've learned that 60% of our core users are over 100,000 in income. That gives us confidence that we can lean into that group with pricing more.
Really drive meaningful moments in the year. We learned,
says the Chipotle CEO. Russia Today has posted young girls posing in Epstein's office, fully blacked out victims that are nude. Girls as young as 10. And Dmitry Lavrov, Russia's foreign minister, says Epstein's files have exposed pure Satanism, which is 100% true. We also now have another Epstein file here. You offered to buy me a baby 6 months ago into our relationship. More evidence Epstein was purchasing newborn babies, which we heard about that, Epstein eating children. We have new elements from the Epstein files showing women being cut up. Syrian videos of Syrian girls, young girls as young as 5, being abducted in Syria. That's on video now. And so we're also reading the Epstein files about them eating children. And we can get into that all day. There is plenty of new evidence. Also, like I said, the Michael Jackson situation, I really need to make a video about that because the world does owe Michael Jackson, after his death, even an apology. Yeah, so, and of course, Nick Fuentes saying Jeffrey Epstein is not a pedophile, as emails with Jeffrey Epstein say, who's the girl you're going to buy? How old? Age 10. And Nick Fuentes saying that. So Nick Fuentes is a pedophile supporter. That's what it looks like to me. And then here's a video of Epstein's butler trying to purchase children. And for the record, 0 trans people have been named in the Epstein files. And here's an image of Mark Zuckerberg with Elon Musk and Peter Thiel with Jeffrey Epstein. So it's time we get this going here and we get these people executed. I don't know how or when that's going to happen. I was hoping soon. I was hoping by this weekend or maybe at least very soon. Is there any way we can get some protests going and get these billionaires rounded up? If you know what I'm saying. Leaked email reveals Prince Andrew was protected inside Epstein's home by King Charles's Lord Steward, Peter Longborough. You're not angry enough. An Epstein email exchange where they talk about Jesus returning and a little girl praying in bed about Jesus saving her life. They're literal demons. I would give anything to hug that baby right now. Basically saying that she felt God's presence when she was in bed and she knew Jesus watched over her and helped her. And then they were mocking the fact that she was praying to Jesus. Basically, Talmudic Satanism. And then we also have a room and a bed with hidden cameras facing the bed for them to do their sick bullshit on once again. I mean, every single day it's something new. Tides Foundation Epstein's victim $100,000 check going from Ghislaine Maxwell to the Tides Foundation. So what is that? The Tides Foundation is a non-profit philanthropic organization dedicated to advancing social justice. They amplify and impact our partners by providing philanthropic and capacity building offerings in equity and justice. So it's just money laundering to buy children. Wow, that is fucked. Okay. We've got a lot of videos to make about this. I haven't made individual videos. I was going to make a lot, but it looks like we're going to have to. And U.S. Secretary of the Navy John Phelan was listed in Epstein's top logs with Jean-Luc Burnell. Burnell also committed unalive by hanging himself in prison after facing multiple rape and sexual assault charges of minors. And emails between Tony Blair and Jeffrey Epstein. And Swiss bank account for Ghislaine Maxwell with $19 million uncovered. Fantastic. And people saying that Keir Starmer should resign. I believe 100%. And Arms Gold, Asmon Gold, is basically the code word, apparently, that they were eating children. So that's happening quite a bit, saying that they were eating children. And Piers Morgan has been mentioned also in the Epstein files. So some of the revelations from a little while ago, I need to get into that. Some also saying that the Island boys were raised on Epstein Island. 60,000 J.P. Morgan Epstein documents, but crickets in the media. J.P. Morgan was working with Jeffrey Epstein for some type of money movement. We're still not sure exactly what that is. Steve Bannon basically saying that they were going to pacify the public. And Epstein, this will be the worst that you'll hear right here, ladies and gentlemen, is that the code name for eating cooked children was the word jerky. So there were several thousand references to the term jerky between certain people, many who were redacted, and Jeffrey Epstein talking about keeping jerky. The jerky was a big thing, but then mixed with ASM Gold pointed to children being murdered, cooked, and stored in freezers for later consumption. And they were running not only a sex trafficking ring, but they were also running a human meat sales ring of some sort. Not exactly sure what that is, but there's a lot of implications of children being eaten and sold and prepared off-site, not at Epstein Island, but the children coming there and then the dead ones either being beheaded and thrown out to the sharks or the meat being used to be consumed later. So, it's Monday tomorrow. I'm not exactly sure how everybody is really wanting to go pay taxes and go to work. I'm having a hard time. I think a lot of people are having a hard time that have read these, trying to figure out exactly what you're going to do in life and trying to go through and pretend it's normal, knowing that there are child molesting child eaters that also apparently are shit eaters too. Yeah, the seed spreading, the genetic shit, the quantum mechanics, the Project Looking Glass, Yeah, it is real fucking weird. And I don't really know what to say about it at this point. I mean, I can continue reading these files every single day. Oh, yeah, there have been hundreds of missing, or millions of missing children. They've rescued hundreds, and they just rescued a bunch in England today. So there's that was it, hundreds of thousands. If you go to Mexico, there's a wall of all the missing people. There's like 500,000 missing people. It is nothing but missing people. They've all been raped and turned into food. They've been raped and turned into food. Raped for sexual ritual and then turned into food for sale, trafficking, organ harvesting, and just satanic food rituals. And that's where they're living. That's what we're doing here, is living in a world where your leadership fucks and eats kids, your celebrities. By the way, they redacted celebrities' names. People are pretty pissed off. Coming up here tomorrow, Congress and the Senate will get unredacted. So I want everybody to watch for leaks that will come out with that. I just don't know. You say bye, B? Oh, it's Bees. What's up? And so I don't really know how we can continue as a society. All these people need to be thrown out because a lot of these politicians, even if they didn't necessarily do anything sexually with these people or kill them or eat them or whatever it was, they knew about it. The DOJ gave a pass to Epstein, possible a pardon. One of them one group is talking about shadow pardons, which is absolutely sickening in more ways than one. So we have to look out for that. So I don't really know where to go from here. I've read the news of the day. We sped run it. And I'm just kind of, I don't really know what to say about it, man. The only thing that'll make these people stop is to start a revolution and kill people. Nobody wants to do that or talk about it. Everybody thinks it's some kind of issue. They think it's some kind of problem that there's like, if this doesn't happen, we need to just forget about it. It'll just go away, whatever it is. And the thing is, it's not just going to go away. These people are, I believe, probably still doing it anyway. I believe they're doing it now. They're doing it more. And they're doing it in different places. Some of the same people, some non-same people. But it's not going to stop unless you execute certain people. It's just not. It's not going to stop unless you take them out. All right, that's all it is. I don't know what else to tell you. There's not really anything to say after that. We're at a crucial time in our lives. The Constitution says you can overthrow the government. Let me just repeat that. The Constitution says you can do it. So given the fact that the Constitution says you can do it, I'm not exactly sure why we're not doing it. Anyway, so that's what we're doing here. That's the news of today. It's a Sunday. Super Bowl's going on. Unfortunately, more grown men are worried about the Super Bowl than they are about child sex trafficking. Seattle Seahawks 12, New England Patriots 0. And Bad Bunny hands his Grammy to a boy that was detained by ICE. 90% chance the Seahawks will win. And judge orders a release of justification for FBI's Georgia ballot raid. So that's where we're at right now. We're awaiting some movement in the world of arresting billionaire child sex traffickers and kid eaters. We'll see what will happen with that. And go Seahawks, I guess, because they need it. You know what I'm saying? They've got that liberal mayor that's the socialist. They're going to need it. So no time like the present. Anyway, yeah, follow me on TikTok, Sup America and Sup America 2, with my archaeology page, Sup America, and my political page, Sup America 2. Follow me here on YouTube by subscribing. If you'd like to join my memberships, I offer several tiers of membership, from Sup America to Sup America Pope, with various pricing on those. And also Cash App and Venmo if you have it, or just gift the live stream. That would be fantastic. Got a couple more videos to do after this, and it's time to go back to work and school Monday, which it's going to be really hard to get all that going, knowing that there was going to have a whole bunch of child molesting billionaires. That's kind of creepy as fuck, isn't it? Holy shit. And hopefully the Seahawks will win, and that's basically your news. So there will be more tomorrow. I'll get to a couple videos tonight on TikTok. But, oh, by the way, City of New York is still under garbage because nobody's picked that up yet. So don't forget to subscribe, share, like, hit the notification. Subscribe here on YouTube. Hello, America Sup. I will change that name out once I get my ass in gear. And follow me on Wu Tai 1 Nostalgia. That's my gaming channel. Subscribe, Wu Tai 1 Nostalgia on YouTube. It's got like 260-some thousand followers. We'll get into old nostalgia games there, and we'll start doing that in the upcoming future. So subscribe, share, like, hit the notification button. If you don't like me, block me. And we'll be back with the news tomorrow. And if you don't like me, go fuck yourself. See you later. Bye.